What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Abel, and I'm back with another weekly outlook. And with this week, we have a few phenomenal opportunities that are approaching in this upcoming week. And I want you guys to be aware of them so that you guys can go ahead and also see, hopefully, the profits that I'm expecting to actually see for this week. Before we even get into this, though, I want to go ahead and give a massive shout out to every single one of you guys that have been supporting, that have been rocking with me, that have been tuning into the videos, especially on all the live streams. For those of you guys that don't know, I go live right here on YouTube 3 times a week, every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am live for at least an hour, hour and a half to 2 hours. And it's just me, guys, ultimately really just providing value to every single one of you guys that actually decide to tap in. Now, let's go ahead and get right into this video. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the calendar that we have upcoming for this week so that we are aware of any type of fundamental news that's going to get released. Anything that can go ahead and create sentiment is really what we want to focus on, because this market is driven by fundamental analysis. It is also driven by sentimental analysis, and then the technicals is what's being created after the fact. But I want you guys to take a look at a few different events. I'm not going to go through the entire calendar. I'm just going to talk about, in my opinion, what are the ones we should focus on, especially for the pairs that I'm going to be looking at. And a few ones that I'm going to be paying attention to, guys. The first things first, we do have, again, 4th of July this weekend. So on Monday, they will be celebrating Independence Day. So be mindful of that. The banks will most likely be closed. And the banks are the ones provide the most liquidity in these markets. It provides the volatility in these markets. So if you are not used to trading without any type of volatility, or if you're not trading, or if you're not aware that the banks are closed, then you can possibly get trapped in certain setups that usually might go in your favor with that actually additional or that added volatility that usually can come into markets, guys. But let's go ahead and take a look at what we got going on. So we do have something very interesting to start off on Tuesday. Now, I'm not personally going to look at any Australian dollar pairs this week, but we do have the RBA interest rate decision. They are expecting to raise rates, guys, around 50 basis points. As you guys should know, right now, every single central bank across the world is pretty much trying to fight and combat inflation. That's probably one of the most important things right now. And one way that they're doing that is by raising interest rates, because when central banks raise interest rates, that is done with the intentions of trying to calm people down, right? Interest rates go up to try to slow people down from spending, because now it's going to cost more to actually borrow. It's going to cost more, for people to actually get access to money. And in return, usually people actually start hoarding and sitting on their money more than anything, which is a way to fight inflation. So that's something just to be aware of, guys. If any of you guys out there are going to be trading any Australian dollar pairs, just be mindful of that for sure. Now, what I'm going to be focusing on going into this week, on Wednesday, guys, we do have FOMC meeting minutes. FOMC, the Federal Open Market Committee, they are the committee that ultimately really decides interest rates and monetary policy over here in the U.S. So they are the big boys over there in the Federal Reserve with Jerome Powell and his team. And they're the ones that's really right now, guys, a lot of traders and a lot of investors are paying attention to, because they're literally deciding on what is going to happen next in terms of fighting inflation, in terms of interest rates, in terms of quantitative tightening, which is what they're doing right now. There's a lot going on, and we have to be aware of these things. All right, so that's something that we have to be paying attention to, guys, on Wednesday. That does go live at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a report that eventually gets released, and you can get some type of sentiment from that report as well. Now, another thing that I'm also going to be paying attention to, guys, is going to be Thursday and Friday. We do have 2 major news events. We have the initial jobless claim coming out for the U.S. dollar. We also have the ADP version of non-farm employment change. Those are things, guys, that are absolutely going to change these markets, or that are going to absolutely chase or shake these markets. So we have to be aware of those things. And then also on Friday, we also have non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate that's also getting released. Now, again, a lot of traders across the board, guys, are really going to be paying attention to these numbers, because with high employment numbers, right, if there's a strong jobs market, then that in itself is really not going to help out in terms of fighting inflation. Okay, because yeah, interest rates will do something, right? We'll try to stop people from spending, and we're already seeing that occur across the board, where people are now doing less spending across the board. But when people have jobs and when people are still getting paid, they're going to be spending no matter what. So again, one way to fight inflation is to get people to stop spending. And unfortunately, one way to also see if inflation could possibly go down is by seeing less people actually being employed and the unemployment rate starting to increase. And that in itself, again, is crazy to say, but that can bring some type of optimism back into the markets as well. So those are the things that we got to pay attention to going into this week overall. And let's get straight into the actual charts so I can give you guys an idea of what I'm going to be looking at going into this week myself. So I'm starting off here, guys, looking at the US dollar, the dollar index itself. This is an index that pretty much measures the strength of the dollar compared to a bucket of other currencies out there. This bucket of currencies is mainly made up of the euro. So it has a very strong correlation with Euro USD, a negative correlation. But what I think is actually going to happen going into this week, guys, based on what we just been seeing. So overall, we can clearly see that this market has been extremely bullish. We've been bullish for some time now. I've been calling that out for, forever. I've been expecting this to occur literally since all of last year because of everything that we went through. And I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon. I do believe that the dollar is going to continue its dominance. But I believe in the short term, we might actually be able to see some type of a pullback in this market, guys, right? Especially based off the type of price action that we've been experiencing around these areas of supply all the way up at these highs, right? We had an area right here of structure or supply where the market has tapped into it 1 day, 2 days, and we continue to get, pressure back down to the downside, right? Where now could be an opportunity for a lot of people that have been buying the dollar to actually go ahead and start taking some type of profits off of the table. So I think in the short term, I do think we do have an opportunity going into this week for the dollar itself, guys, to actually go more so on a bearish run, right? Again, short term. Now, just look at price action. Look at what these candlesticks are doing. We did see, again, a very aggressive drop all the beginning of, I believe, last week. We've seen a very, very strong reaction to the downside. Price came all the way back up based off of data that was released. But then we also seen price tap up into the supply zone once again. And then we also ended up closing the week with this bearish 4-hour engulfing. Now, again, I do think that 4-hour engulfing, guys, could be the start of price coming right back down. Now, there's going to be a couple areas I'm going to be focused on. We do have this area of demand down here at this 103.5 level that we could possibly really see, buyers pick up. But what I'm really interested in is seeing if price can come all the way down to this level, right around the 102.5. If we can see price come down to 102.5, then that's really where I'm definitely going to be looking for some long opportunities here for the dollar. But either way, it could bounce off of any of these levels, right? It could bounce off of here. It could also bounce off of down here as well. So I'm going to be paying attention to both of those levels for sure. Now, let's go ahead and get right into this, guys, and look at the euro. Again, the dollar does the exact opposite of what the euro is doing. And I think we do have an opportunity for the euro, guys, to actually go ahead and rebound as well. If the dollar, in my opinion, is going to be in a short-term bearish trend, then the euro should be in a short-term bullish trend. And that's exactly what I'm expecting, right? So again, we're at a very significant level of structure down here at the lows. Again, keep in mind, we are in an ultimate downtrend overall, but I think we might be due for an opportunity to go ahead and see some pulling back of this market. I personally want to see price come up into these levels up here. If we're able to see price come up into this supply zone up here, then that's really where I'm going to be tempted, guys, to actually go ahead and look for some selling opportunities to go ahead and get us back into this trend. That's just me. That's my opinion, right? But I do think this week we'll have some bullish momentum to start off. And if we end up coming up into this level by the end of the week or somewhere in this week, then I think we're really going to go ahead and see some shorting opportunities. Now, again, based off the data that does get released, again, we do have some major news that's getting released this week. This can obviously change everything that we're looking at from a technical perspective. But from a technical perspective, this is really what I want to look for, guys. So if we're able to really see price come up into this area up here, let me just go ahead and fine tune this. Somewhere in here is really where I would be interested in. All right, anywhere between this 1.06700 and 1.07 level. And there is where I'm going to be very patient. And I'm going to be looking for bearish price action on the smaller time frames, right? Because that's going to be telling me that it's time to jump in, right? Mainly what I really want to look for, right? Mainly what I really want to look for, guys, is going to be that smaller time frame break of structure or shift of momentum. And then I'm going to get in. Another thing that you can do if you just don't want to be analyzing the markets, if you don't want to just sit there and try to wait for all that to occur, setting a pending order up here in the middle of the supply zone will not be a bad bet. Maybe right down here on the close of this area of imbalance, where we clearly had a lot of momentum really pick up for the sellers. That is another area, guys, where you can also go ahead and just target if you wanted to say use more so of a pending order. But, I personally will just wait for price to get up there. And then once it's up there, I'll be very, very comfortable, with looking for a shorting opportunity, right? Something like this, is that we can go ahead and possibly play and take advantage of, right? Enter up here. Again, I'm going to be looking for the shorting opportunity. So I'll be targeting right back down to these lows ultimately. And look at the risk reward. Really, really good. So we'll see ultimately what happens, guys. But that's going to be my idea going into this week for the euro. Let's go ahead and take a look at the at gold. I know gold is definitely a fan favorite of a lot of people. And again, let's take a look at what we have done on the bigger time frame. We did see price again give us another strong reaction, guys, from this area of demand. Clearly, to all the big traders, all the big hedge funds, the big banks, the big institutions in the world, anytime gold does come down to around the 1790 level, they are considering that as discounted prices for gold. So they are absolutely just continuing to buy it up. I think that we're going to see probably more follow through as well, guys, for gold. At least in my opinion, we could possibly see gold reach all the way back up into this area, which is around the 1870s, 1880s. But there is also a very, very big possibility, guys, that we actually go ahead and reach all the way up into the 1900 levels for gold. So I'm going to be looking for opportunities to buy going into this week for gold. Now, where would I like to take advantage of it? Well, if we could see some type of a pullback, right? I don't want to buy it all the way up here, right? I'm not interested in that. If we are able to see price pull back down, then we can go ahead and possibly look for an opportunity to go long, right? I would be interested in looking for long opportunities somewhere down here in this level, right? In this little box that I have here, 1794, 1790, in this area, in this range is really where I would be very comfortable, guys, with looking for some long opportunities to see if we are going to go ahead and continue bullish. Now, does that pullback have to occur? Of course not. The market's going to do what it wants to do. So if it just continues to fly without giving us no type of pullback down to here, that's fine. I'll let it do what it does. But then if we pull back down and say this area, right, because I'm looking at structure to the left, then that can also be an opportunity for us to go ahead and get involved if we don't start to see this deeper pullback early on in the week, right? So those are just a couple opportunities, guys, I'm gonna be looking at for gold going to this week. Very interested to see exactly what that's gonna do as well. Let's go take a look at GJ, right? GJ is another one that I know is a fan favorite. And even GJ, guys, I mean, this thing has also been extremely bullish. A lot of currencies have been extremely bullish against the yen just because of their monetary policies over there. They're being very, very passive. They're not being as aggressive as a lot of central banks are. So their currency is absolutely getting destroyed because of that. But there are signs and there are evidence that they are going to start to be more aggressive very, very soon. But as of right now, I think that we still have an opportunity, guys, for this to actually rebound and possibly go ahead and continue in this bullish trend that we've been experiencing and that we've been expecting. So one thing that I'm going to be looking for is if we're able to really go ahead and break this order block right here, right, where we clearly had a lot of sellers really enter the market at that time. If we actually end up breaking that level, then that's going to give me a lot of confidence in us continuing to go higher. I think off of this level right here, because we did have an increase in selling pressure from that area, we could see another pushback down. But if we do break it, then yeah, I'm all day long, guys, going to be looking for opportunities to continue to go long. Now, if I want to take more of a riskier chance or a riskier play to actually try to buy down here at these levels, then it's probably going to be right off of this order block that we have right here, right? So if price comes down to here, guys, I am on the 1 hour time frame now, but if price comes down into this 162.4.5 level, then I will be comfortable taking a chance at that as well. Just understand that it is a little bit of a riskier play because we have seen obviously a lot of bearish momentum recently come into play for the pound yen, but ultimately, it might also be a phenomenal opportunity, right? Because now we're talking about a risk to reward that can be absolutely really, really juicy, right? And I'm all about risk to reward more than anything at the end of the day, right? So this is something else, guys, that I'm going to be keeping my eye on. A real strong break of this 164 level, then that, in my opinion, is going to give us a lot more upside for GJ, okay? But it's just a matter of being patient and seeing what happens. Now, if you do decide to take this entry, say down here, again, it doesn't look like a bad play. Just keep in mind, we have seen an increase in momentum. So, just make sure that you are practicing proper risk management. And then the last opportunity, guys, I want to look at for this week that I'm also going to be focused on is going to be the indices, right? We are looking at, obviously, SPX, US 30, NAS 100. They all pretty much move very, very similarly, right? I'm going to take a look at NAS 100. I've been trading NAS a lot more than usual, right? Because I normally don't trade a lot of the indices. I'm very comfortable with my currency, so I usually stick with those. But I have been dabbling into, these indice markets a lot more. Now, overall, guys, for the past, since the beginning of this year, we have been in more of a bearish market. I'm pretty sure you guys have been seeing that all over the news as well. And I don't see that slowing down anytime soon, but we could see a short-term pullback in this market as well. So what I think was going to happen, guys, again, I could be wrong, but I think we do see a pullback to possibly start the week, but then eventually we're probably going to end the week, in my opinion, obviously ended up creating new lows in terms of what we're currently seeing now. So I believe we're going to start the week bullish, and I'm really just looking at, in terms of technical analysis, guys, looking at structure, right? I think we are going to see bullishness come in, but then eventually I want to sell off. Now, where do I want to sell off from? Right, where there's going to be a couple areas I want to pay attention to, but mainly it's going to be this area up here, this zone right here. Right, I'm looking at this zone, guys, very simple. I'm looking at what happened in the past, and also where did the area or where did the ultimate strength come in last time we seen a bearish move. Strength, bearishness really is picked up, guys, around this area. So if we do get up into this area down up here around maybe the the 12,380 level, that's where I will be looking for some opportunities to go ahead and short NAS 100. And that's just keeping it as simple as could be, guys, because overall I'm still very much bearish this. I still very much am risk off sentiment overall. So I think indice markets are going to ultimately continue long-term bearishness. The dollar is probably going to eventually continue its dominance as well to the upside. So I want to just continue to align myself, guys, with those specific biases until the sentiment overall changes. So that's my outlook for the week, family. I hope you guys enjoyed this outlook. I hope you guys got some value. I hope you guys got some setups that you guys can hopefully take advantage of. Just make sure you practice proper risk management. Make sure that you have your mind right. And hopefully you guys have a phenomenal week moving forward for this week, guys. Now, if you guys got some value, go ahead and smash the like button. Go ahead and drop a comment down below, and make sure to be subscribed for more updated videos on me providing massive value to all you guys. Family, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. And I'll see you guys on my weekly sessions, on my weekly videos starting on Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Let's get it.